Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Starseed Immersion Podcast. I'm so excited to introduce you to my lovely guest today, Anistara Ma Ka. She is a visionary mother of 1111 Unified and 1111 Ascension University, a multidimensional wayshower, portal priestess, and starborn architect for the new earth. Anistara creates sacred platforms that activate planetary remembrance and
Mhm.
anchor 5D consciousness on Earth. She's an international best-selling author, award-winning transformational speaker, and ordained minister. I
Mhm.
am so excited to have you here today.
Thank you. Indeed, so am I, sister.
So I would love to begin with like a short overview of what is your history? How did you get into the work that you're doing today?
That's a wonderful question. Uh, well, I have felt connected to the number 1111 since I was very, very young. In fact, I was born at 11:12 p.m. So I entered what's called the 1111 portal into this incarnation, into this embodiment. And so when my husband and I met, I was in my late 20s. We had this commonality together. We're like, oh, we both see 1111. What is that? What does that mean to you? Right. And we started noticing that other people in the community had the same remembrance of 1111. And now I call it an awakening code. It's a master number. It means enlightenment. It means consciousness, like amplifying your consciousness. And so my husband and I started gathering in our home 15 years ago now. And we would host a ceremony where we invited people to call in a prayer for themselves, their family, the community, and then the earth and humanity. And we noticed after several years that whatever people were praying for and putting into the cauldron on 1111 got amplified and magnified, and dreams were coming true. My husband and I called in our child. We bought our home, things like this, right? And so it started growing and it got so big that we couldn't hold it in our home anymore. And we started going to bigger homes and then retreat centers. And on our 5-year marriage anniversary, my husband and I recommitted to each other on 11/11/11. And we had a 3-day festival wedding. And so fast forward to 2020, and the whole world's in lockdown. And I had the image 3 months earlier to bring this 1111 energy to a more global audience. And so 2020, I hosted a virtual event. We had almost 2,000 people register for that event. And that birthed 1111 Unified Network. And so we connect with other 1111 events around the world, and we always host a virtual event. And this year, we're going to host a hybrid event where I will have a group of people on sacred pilgrimage in Egypt. And then we'll be hosting the virtual event and bringing forth different messages and transmissions that we receive in Egypt on 11/11 to our virtual event that evening. So that is how I got into creating 1111 Unified. And the Ascension University was birthed because I saw a need for star seeds, visionaries, aspiring leaders, and way showers and truth seekers to have a beautiful, safe place where they can authentically be themselves and be vulnerable and all the things that we go through when we are misunderstood. And so I host a series of virtual events throughout the year. One of them called You're Not Crazy, You're Just Awakening. Yeah. And then from there, they go into a 3-month container called the Awaken Leadership Initiation. And so, as a holistic coach and a life coach, I'm able to help guide our New Earth archetypes into the next chapter of their life.
Oh my goodness. The first thing that popped out to me was your radiance in this Egyptian energy
Mhm.
and how this resonates with the 1111, if it is connected,
Mhm.
and what it represents, what it signifies for our time right now as we are remembering who we are.
Mm, I love that. Thank you. Yeah, I believe that awakening codes in general are a remembrance. The universe speaks to us in mathematics and numbers and geometry, right? Frequency, vibration. And so these master numbers, 1111, 555, 333, they are repeating numbers and they hold a certain frequency. They hold a certain vibration. And I personally have had many past lives in Egypt. In fact, my husband remembered one of them, my son remembered one of them. And so I felt a call to be in Egypt at the Temple of Isis on 11/11 this year. And one of our main missions for 11/11 Unified is to be at a sacred site on 11/11 where we're activating the codes within us, where we're remembering our soul codes, our purpose, our mission. And then we're amplifying that energy on that portal day and sending it out through our planetary light grid. So this year is all about amplifying our planetary light codes. And yeah, I've just had a deep resonance with Egypt since a very young age. I used to draw pyramids on my notebooks in school, and I was just fascinated with the lore, the ancient civilization, and also with the opportunity to expand the ideas that Egyptology teaches, that the pyramids are 7 to 8,000 years old, that they were tombs, etc. And I've been studying with a Kemetologist. So Kemet, then Egypt. If Kemet is much more ancient, and it teaches that the pyramids and the temples actually have been on the planet for 34 to 56,000 years old, which really changes the origin of humanity and brings in the ideas of otherworld beings and off-planet beings coming to this planet and assisting us in building these megalithic structures. Yeah, so it's exciting. I mean, I really the progress and the planning. Like we've been planning this trip for 3.5 years, and it's finally here.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to hear a little bit about your behind the scenes process. Like,
Mhm,
how did this, I guess, intuitive guidance or
mhm,
download, or,
mhm,
I believe that the work that you're doing, you're connected. It's
mhm,
part of your mission. So how did it come to fruition, and what are some of the um, details on the back end of what people can
mhm,
experience?
mhm. I feel like we all have these different chapters of our life, right? And that each chapter has a new purpose and a new mission. And yet we have an overarching life mission or purpose. And mine is to be in service to humanity's awakening and our planetary ascension. And so the retreats, the events, whether they're virtual or live, the coaching, the writing in books, this is all a part of the pieces of my puzzle that creates the bigger picture of my life and my offerings and how I show up in service to the world. So I find that it really got initiated within me at a very young age. I was the black sheep of the family. I like to say rainbow sheep of the family, but I always stood out. I was always different. I was misunderstood, and I never quite fit in. And I needed to find my tribe, right? And so I started going to conscious events and um, empowering festivals and just started weaving in. And of course, Burning Man was a huge catalyst in that. I haven't been in 10 years. And yet it did awaken things within me. And when my husband and I had our first marriage, we eloped on the beach in Santa Barbara. And a psychic had told me the name Anistara 10 years earlier. And we're like, oh, that would be the name of our daughter if she's ever born. Well, the night of our marriage, we had a fire ceremony as our ceremony. And it activated something within me. And Anistara actually came in and entered my body and was like, hi, I'm here. We're here to do some work together. And my husband's like, wait a minute, I married Candace. Who are you? And I felt the entirety of existence. I felt my multidimensional beingness. I saw across all timelines and dimensions, and trying to verbalize this in English to him in like this space and time in 3D reality was challenging. And yet he was very kind and gracious and accepting as to what was happening. He actually rented me a cabin for 3 months up on a mountain overlooking the ocean where I just channeled. I just was. I just meditated and walked in nature and had time alone and began to integrate my ascended self. And here it is, fast forward 19 years now since that experience. I've really learned how to integrate my higher self, Anistara, into this 3D reality. And that's why I've stepped into the Ascension University. I have my job title you know, connected with and felt called to is Ascension Integration Mentor. And when I met you and you're an Ascension Mentor, I was like, oh, I need to know this sister. So my awakening process or experience has given me so much information to be there for others who are going through similar experiences. Suddenly their life doesn't make sense. Suddenly 3D things and dense frequency things don't serve them anymore. They might not be happy in the job that they're in, or the home they're living in, or the relationship they're in, and their family just doesn't get them. They're like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? You want us to call you a different name? And as more people are waking up, I feel like we need support. We need support to integrate our ascension. So that's really how I've stepped into this iteration, this embodiment, and the work that I share with the world.
Yeah. And then the planning of
Mhm.
your Egypt tour that's coming up, because you said you got it's been in planning phase for 3 years.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how did that come together? Like I'm I'm
I
curious.
love that. Yeah. So I signed up for a retreat in Egypt, and we were supposed to go in 2020. And we were supposed to leave in March of 2020. And when I was in Bali in 2019, I was there on a solo trip and I was under a waterfall and I was just communing with the nature deities. And I got a full download in that moment. Like 1111 has to grow beyond your local community, it needs to go global. And so fast forward to March 2020, and it was lockdown, and I couldn't go to Egypt. So the day that I was supposed to be at the Great Pyramid of Giza, my husband walks over to me with VR goggles. He's like, "Honey, put these on." I'm like, "Nah, I don't, that's not me, right? I don't want to be involved in that quite yet." He's like, "Trust me." And he put them on, and I was suddenly transported to the base of the Great Pyramid of the Giza Plateau. And I stood there and I looked up at the majesty of it and I just started crying. And I knew in that moment that one day I too would take a group of pilgrims to Egypt and that it would happen on 11/11. And so in 2021, we were able to go to Egypt for that tour that was postponed a whole year. And when I met the tour guide and the cometologist at Unknown Egypt Travel, I was like, you're the one. You're the one that I've been calling in. You're the one that I want to do this with. And when I was on that tour with him and learning more about his teachings and how he shares the unknown aspects that of Egypt, the more ancient part of Egypt, I resonated more and more with him. And so we planted the seed when I was on that trip. I'm like, I want to do this with you. And when I got home a few months later, we made our deposit to the Department of Antiquities for our private access. And we said, Temple of Isis on 11/11. And then the next year, when we were supposed to do it, my husband's father passed away on 12/12, 1 month and 1 day after 11/11. And so we stayed at home and then we planned it for last year. And yet the war and things like that, really, people were afraid to go. They weren't ready to go. And so we were listening deeply and we postponed it to this year. And so that's why it's been a 3.5 year process. And I'm just so grateful that it is here and it's time. I feel like those who are feeling called and know in their heart that it's time to go home and receive the messages and codes that they left behind for themselves, that this is the opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what you mentioned is something that I've been tuning so deeply with recently. It's about how we're connected to the universal field of source consciousness. And so things that, we feel like are not happening, are not manifesting right now, it's because universally there's a lot of things going on. So I do feel just you moving your trip because you were listening to the energies of what was happening. Now's the right time. Like now, so many of us, even me, I was talking about how this year I really integrated the multidimensional aspect. And I finally hear you, like I understand all of the things you're talking about. Whereas if it was last year, I would understand the concept of a star seed. I would understand like okay, I'm a star seed, but I'm still living a linear life. I'm still moving a certain way, living a certain way out of fear or survival. And then now, as more and more of us are integrating our multidimensionality and remembering the wholeness of who we are, now it's that pull of like we're ready to bring back the ancient codes and the ancient wisdom.
Yes. It was
Yeah.
so well put.
Oh, so beautiful. And I'm curious why the Temple of Isis out of all the available temples that you could to.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's several reasons. The first one, I believe that the divine feminine is rising and that we are moving from a patriarchal society. And the pyramid, like the pyramid schemes. I mean, somebody's at the top of the pyramid and the people at the bottom get nothing, right? And when I entered the Temple of Isis 4 years ago now, I had such a deep remembrance of being there as a priestess. And I walked in, and there was a pulpit that the Catholic Church had placed there and created an insert, like literally took away part of the wall to have their altar. And they had etched crosses over the hieroglyphs of some of the pillars. And throughout the temple, breasts and yonis have been scratched off some of the women's faces. And so, um, I just fell to my knees and I started crying. How can you deface the Divine Mother like that? Like, women are the creators of life in the entire universe on this planet, in this 3D realm. And I knew that I wanted to be in communion with Mother Isis on that portal day to amplify the divine feminine codes within us all, even in the masculine beings. And so as I left the temple and I went to the left, there was this doorway that seemingly went nowhere, right? Like they have a lot of doorways that are like etched into walls. And if you vibrate at a certain frequency, you can open the doorway, right? And it can go somewhere beautiful, whether it's another planet, whether it's another sacred site on Earth, etc., right? And so when I'm looking at this, I saw very clearly on both sides, one was the Jed pillar. And I personally had felt an intuition and a decoding of the Jed pillar. It represents Osiris's spine and the clearing of the chakra channel. And if you turn your head sideways, there's literally 11 lines that go up to a point with a circle and two beings in it. And it's the unification, right? It's that unified field of duality, or unifying duality, I should say. But it's on the 11th level, like the 11th dimension. And when you turn your head to the side, very clearly are big four lines. And so being an 1111 I interpret that as 1111, right? On the other side of the doorway was kind of this popsicle looking thing with four lines through it. And I asked our tour guide, Robbie, what does that symbol mean? And he said, that means doorway to another dimension. And I was like, I want to be at this double 1111 doorway on 1111 at 1111. So that's what prompted me to choose the Temple of Isis specifically.
Oh my goodness. That
Yeah.
is so powerful. And I love the synchronicity of the 11 lines and the two
Hmm.
unifying.
Hmm.
Wow. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that's on your heart to share with us?
Hmm. For those who are awakening, just know that you're not alone. So many people are waking up to our infinite beingness. We are remembering, I like to say, instead of remembering, right? That life is a joy journey, that it's for us to find the joy within it. And if you feel like you're going through a dark night of the soul, I like to say dark night of the ego, because I believe the soul to already be pure and whole. It's the ego identity that is crumbling, even in the microcosm of yourself and the macrocosm of the world. And so, as these systems within yourself and the collective is crumbling, know that what's coming lives within you first. Like when I say we're co-creating the new earth lives inside my heart. I believe it to already be true. And so it's being reflected in my 3D world right here, right now. I'm creating that new earth frequency in my home, in my environment, in my community. And so there is support, there's community, there's others like you, and don't be afraid. Like it really is just, we're bringing heaven to earth. Like when we think about 5D consciousness, we are literally stepping into our light bodies and certain 3D dense things that we have depended on in this reality will no longer apply and we can be free of them. So I just feel so excited. I feel like so many of us have been called here to planet Earth during this pivotal time in humanity's consciousness expansion, right? In this planetary ascension. Like many of us have received soul assignments to come here. Our soul signed a contract and said, yeah, pick me. I want to go on that roller coaster ride. And then we fall into density and we're like, we don't remember until that waking up point, until that awakening process begins to happen. And the more we remember, the more we know that we're all one. We're all unified. It's all frequency. It's all energy. So, what's the frequency you're holding? What's the frequency that you want to ripple out into the world? And just know that you're not alone. We're all here doing it together. And some people might not choose it in this lifetime. Some people might choose to stay where they are, and that's okay. We can't force them. They're on their own soul journey. So, yeah, keep
Yeah.
being yourself, shine your light bright.
And I can attest that like many who are going through and I resonate that when we're going through the process of this expansion of consciousness, it feels chaotic because
Hmm.
the death of the ego is all that you've known, right? Like you've known this linear life in this 3D world and that like hustle and all these limitations was the way. And now it's knowing that there's something so much more. And it's like this overwhelming feeling. How do I integrate that? And I think that's a big question is people want to understand how to live it, how to embody it. So, do you have any guidance or insights on that?
Yeah. Really tuning into your intuition is the biggest piece. Is listening to that internal dialogue and knowing that you can ask questions and you can say, hey, is this voice of my higher self? Is this for my highest and best? Is this for me to be further into service? Or is this selfish? Is this my ego? Is this even another entity that's trying to enter my consciousness? And by the law of one, you can directly ask, are you here for my highest and best? And if the answer is no, you just tell them to go away. Thank you. You may not enter this space. You can go now. So that's one thing. the other is meditation, just being in your daily practice of emptying the mind, not listening to that voice, coming into the void, coming into the quantum field of infinite possibilities. And the more that you quiet the mind and the more that you experience that elevated state of consciousness, you can begin to have mystical experiences. And when you return from those experiences and you condensed back down into your 3D body, then you can literally change your circumstances, whatever it might be. So when we're tapped into that higher frequency vibration, when we actually are unified with that frequency, then ideas, inspirations, things can come from that that you might not have had trying to push matter to matter, trying to like push through and the we're not human doings, right? We could just keep do. That's very old paradigm. The new paradigm is how are we being? Who are you being? And then when you're vibrating at a certain frequency, you're going to be attracting so much, right? Like you were talking about the law of attraction the other day and how that's like, it's kind of an old thought, so to speak, because when you are one with pure source consciousness, then anything is possible.
Like how you showed up in my field.
Exactly.
And it was really like, what was it? How we are creators. I think that's where we're moving towards because I think the old paradigm in the spiritual field was healing. It was a lot
Mm,
of healing. So I feel that those that have been on the healing path are ready to advance beyond the healing
mhm.
and to step into the creator, the
Yeah.
leader,
Yes.
the creator. You are the embodiment of creation and learning how to co-create as source. Like you recognize you are source, you are co-creating as source. Source is flowing through you. And one of the things that popped up was, can you speak to like how do we address like the imposter syndrome, the fears that come up when maybe perhaps we do receive the downloads in meditation, but then there's almost that hesitation of like, how do I implement this? Do I trust this? Like what happens next?
That's a really good question. Yeah. Again, sitting with that internal compass, like I like to use what I call the body pendulum, right? Asking your yes and no. What is my yes? What is my no? Mine is usually a lean forward or to the right. For a yes, my no is usually a lean back and to the left. Um, and so you can literally pick up something in a grocery store and say, are these vitamins correct for me at this time, right? Is this project right for me at this time? Is this book offer right for me? Is this person, and you can ask yourself yes or no questions using a pendulum, going out in nature and spending time in nature with your feet on the ground. So those are some ways to do that. And yet ultimately, when it comes into like the imposter syndrome or doubting ourselves or feeling confused because we have so many options in our life these days, even the food we eat, right? There's this old structure of feeling like there's this old program of feeling like we're not enough, that we're not worthy. Who am I to teach that? Somebody else is doing it better than me. That's comparison, right? Comparison is the thief of our joy. If it ignites you, if it sparks something within you, if it inspires you, if it motivates you, then it's yours to do. It's yours to share. It's yours to be. And so, like, yes, listening to the internal guidance, and yet also building that confidence to be bold and share it. For so long, I was a hoop dancer for 20 years. I owned a hula hoop company. I was a fire dancer and a circus performer. And when YouTube started coming up and out, I never posted my videos because I was like, oh, I dropped the hoop there, or, whatever happened here, because I was so critical of my own performance on stage. And that's that inner critic, That is the imposter syndrome. That's, we criticize ourselves. Even looking in the mirror, we'll see something we don't like. And so really it's about reframing that into a new program. There's processes that we can do this. Like when I'm in coaching with a client, like I'll use theta healing and other visualizations to delete the old program and install the new program, so to speak. And
Mm.
especially now, even in the AI age, it's like you write something beautiful, but oh, AI can write it better. Sure, yes, you can use it as a tool, but don't let it keep you from sharing your authentic voice and who you are. I saw a podcast recently where he said most people think love is the highest frequency in the universe. It's actually authenticity that's the highest frequency. So just be yourself. When you walk into a room, shine your light. Don't dim it to make somebody else comfortable. If you have an inspiration and that imposter syndrome sets down, it's an opportunity to see it as a learning lesson and to begin to reframe it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came up first was authenticity. Because you are already source, you're an expression of source, you are divine love.
Yeah.
Like that came through. And then the next thing was it served nobody to dim yourself, to make yourself small, right? Because you're just teaching other people to make themselves small. So the more you stand in your light and your confidence, and one of the biggest ones too, acceptance. Acceptance, like I loved how you shared that when we're going through this process, it's not easy because I think a lot of people needed to hear that,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not easy. This earth journey isn't always easy in the beginning, but it's worth it to move through this process, right? And for years, that was my experience. The first awakening process was very, very difficult. And then it
Mm,
progressively got easier the more that we integrated. So just being authentic about that, I feel a relief. I feel relief when I hear my speakers talk about that and their experience and moving through this, and then them stepping in their light and then like feeling like, oh my God, yes, right? If you're getting that download from source, that's a divine mission for you to carry out. There is somebody out there. There's lots of people. Oh my God, we are mass awakening right now. 2026 is actually the 1 year. The
it's
one,
a 10. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So it is like we're moving into brand new planets, brand
Hmm.
new generation. The age of Aquarius is here. And people are, what was it about the age of Aquarius is that all the individualists, all the outcasts, like Aquarius itself is a very individualistic planet. So
Mm,
all of us are stepping into our individuality and yet our unity. Like
mm,
we
hmm.
see that we're all one, but then we honor that we are unique, a unique expression of source.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I just hosted a 999 portal day, right? Because 2025 is a nine. So the 999 portal day was the portal day of completion. And it was really about coming to closure, coming into completion with something that no longer serves you. And so I hosted an online event and we went through this whole like release and surrender. And then the beginning of the calling in because next year is the 10, which equals a one, right? So next year, 10, 10, 10 is going to be the birth of something new. So even in this interim of 999 and 10, 10, 10, there still could be some waffling. And just know and trust that when that portal day hits, ooh, whatever you're working on is going to take off.
I love it so much. So
Yeah.
I would love to invite you to the live experience of a transmission that you have for us.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please. All right, let me take a sip of water. Ah, all right. Let's all just take a moment together and take some deep breaths into our heart space. Hmm. Breathing into our heart. We're going to let go of everything that it took to get here, the to-do list afterwards, and breathe into the present moment, the gift of the present. Yes. And as you do that, begin to visualize a ball of white light inside your heart. Your soul essence resides here. Divine love, authenticity, compassion, acceptance, forgiveness. And with this next exhale, breathe that light into your entire body, your physical 3D body, giving light anywhere that you need it, where it feels stagnant or staticky, or there's a little bit of pain. Just allow the light to wash over and through it, embodying it, surrounding it, enveloping it. And just allow that pain or that static or that negative energy, that dense energy to just dissolve into the light. Dissolving into that mother of pearl, iridescent, rainbow, luminescent light. And do that again for another area if you're feeling it in your lower back or your neck. Just allow the light to completely surround it and dissolve it. And now with the next exhale, breathe that light even further out into your auric field, about 3 feet in diameter, above and below and on both sides. Allowing that light to expand, you're now surrounded by this beautiful iridescent mother of pearl luminous light, filling that light again with that heart light of love, acceptance, forgiveness, compassion. Begin to expand that light out even further into the room that you're in, and then piercing the walls and the building. Even further out now, traveling through and around your neighborhood, whatever area you're in, and out till you're completely surrounding and enveloping Mother Gaia. And we begin to share that light, your uniqueness, your authenticity, your vulnerability as an awakening being going through the awakening process now. To just share that with the world, share that with humanity. Share your light, allow that to touch and influence and impact others. Right here, right now. Like a flower of life, we're creating a grid, a light grid around the planet, around the ley lines. We're connecting in with the different sacred sites and different portals and megalithic structures and power energy vortexes and the chakra points on the planet. We are illuminating those in this moment with our light, feeling others doing it at the same time, creating this unified field, this flower of life, of luminous light around our entire planet and all of humanity. And in this place, we ask our ancestors across all timelines and dimensions, ascended masters, guardian angels, and guides to be here with us now and to continue to shine this light brightly. Shine the light on our path. Show us the way. Let us deeply listen for the guidance within. Let us tap into the infinite field of possibilities, source consciousness, creator energy, knowing and feeling in our bodies and our minds and our soul and our spirit right now that it is done. It is done. It is done. We are co-creating the new earth together. And with the next inhale, begin to sip your energy and your light back towards you, back into the area that you live, sharing it with your surrounding community, back into your home, sharing it with your family, back into your auric field now. As we hold that vision for our new earth, for our 5D ascended earth, where all of humanity can live in peace and harmony with Mother Gaia and each other. And we're going to bring that energy now into our heart, where it resides, where it seeds within you. And ask yourself in this moment, what is my piece of the puzzle for this co-creation? How am I to be in service to this vision? What am I to share? What is my offering? Who am I going to be? What is the embodiment I'm stepping into so that I can fully be who I am and fulfill my purpose and live a fulfilling life on mission? So listen for that answer now. If it's not coming in words, it might come in a symbol or a color or even just a tone or frequency or light language, just listen for it now in this moment. And we say thank you, deep out gratitude for this beautiful message, this beautiful code for you to carry forth in your life, bringing it into your 3D realm, creating ripple effects and impact all around you. And so it is done, it is done, it is done. Aho, amen, ah woman, ah source.
Goodness, I love that.
You.
I was feeling this infinity symbol between us. It was like this mirror between you and me, and it was like this infinity. And then it was also this infinity between the right and the left. And then it was like this infinity in the universe. It was really cool. Really.
Wow, I love that. Oh my goodness. Can I share something with you really quickly?
Sure.
You made me co-host so I could share, right? I wanted to show you something. You literally just explained the symbol that I channeled as my logo.
No. Oh my goodness.
Infinity here, infinity here, and then it looks like a woman birthing, right? And it has my initials in it, AMK. So yeah, I channeled that probably about 3.5 years ago. So thank you for that visual.
Oh my God. You can't make this up. Like we
You
can't make
can't.
this
I
up.
love it. We're so deeply connected already, sister.
This leads me straight into your sacred offering. So, like, would
Thank
you
you.
be able to share your free gift with us? Explain a
Yes.
little bit about what it is.
Yes.
And of course, the most exciting thing coming up this year.
Egypt. How about I start with that? I'm going to start with that
Okay.
because it's coming up real quick. So, for those who have always felt a call towards Egypt, that you know that this is a part of your path, then I invite you to activate your soul codes in Egypt. We will be there October 28th to November 12th. We have private access to the Great Pyramid. We have private access at sunrise between the paws of the Sphinx. We have a beautiful hot air balloon over the Nile. We take an Egyptian wooden sailboat down the Nile on our dahabeah, stopping at different temples along the way, making our way to the Temple of Isis in Philae, where we will have our 1111 activation at that doorway that I explained earlier. So you can find out more about it here. If you want to just plant the seed, even for a future pilgrimage with us, you can apply here. And then obviously, all the information you need to know is here. There is a sound healing. I got gifted 15 minutes of silence in the King's Chamber when I was there. I hit record on my phone and I just started singing and light language came through. And so this is a about an 8-minute snippet of a King's Chamber sound healing experience. Tune into that, see what your soul says to you, and I am here to answer any questions that you have. In order to get to this website, you want to go to 1111 Unified, past tense, we're already unified, /Egypt, 1111unified.com /Egypt. And it would be such a blessing to walk this path with you. And I actually wanted to give a discount to your listeners, babe, because we are at the end and I know what kind of commitment it's going to take for somebody to say yes to this when literally we leave in like 2.5 weeks. And so I'm going to pull this up really quick. So when you are ready to say yes to 1111 Unified instead of 8888, which is the cost of the whole trip, except for the international flight, food, hotels, travel, all of it is included. I will give you an 1111 discount. And you use the code TRIBE 1111 for once. And I will take $1,111 off that 8888 price to be 7777. So yeah, we have 4 spots left, and I am calling in that star family that is meant to come with us. So it's time to say, all right, yes, I'm so ready. What a blessing. And then, of course, if you just want to learn more about your new Earth archetype, if you want to know if you're a visionary, a starseed, an awakened leader, a mystic, a truth seeker, then you can go to the New Earth Archetype quiz, and it'll be included in the email that, or the description, right, Nikki? And yet I'll just say the website out loud. It is 1111 Ascension University.com/ New Earth Archetype Quiz, but there's a dash between each one. New dash Earth dash archetype dash quiz. So I know I have a tiny URL somewhere, can't find it in this moment. But ultimately, once you find out your archetype, you'll receive an email with a much further description as to how you are operating in the 3D world, what kind of purpose or mission you might be called to. We'll even talk about whether you're from Lemuria or Sirius or Pleiades or Atlantis, right? So it just gives you a deeper invitation into who you are and what your new archetype is and how you can be in service to the co-creation of our new earth.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Anistara, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
for sharing your beautiful offering, your discount, and I will have all the links below in the description box. So if you guys are listening in and you're interested, just click the link and you'll be sent straight to the website.
Love that.
What a wonderful, beautiful transmission you shared with us today. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, for being here, for doing the work that you're doing. And it is such an honor to co-create this with you.
It's been a privilege, really, Nikki. I so appreciate you. I love how we ended up finding each other and yeah, soul sisters. There's more to come with both of us. I know it. I can feel it in my bones. Thank you for the opportunity to share today.
Well, thank you. And thank you all for tuning in. I look forward to seeing everybody in the next podcast episode.